Right now, the ground beneath your feet feels solid, permanent, unshakable. You have walked on it your entire life without a single doubt. You build your homes on it. You plant your food in it. You bury your dead inside it. You trust it completely, without ever thinking about it. But that feeling, that quiet, unspoken trust in the earth is a lie, a very recent lie. Because there was a time, thousands of years ago, when a human being stood on solid ground and watched it tear itself apart in front of his eyes. And that single moment changed human psychology forever. Picture him, somewhere in a lush green valley, nestled between two massive mountain ranges, perhaps where the Himalayas meet the Tibetan Plateau, or deep in the Andes of South America, lives a man we will call Torak. Torak is not a shaman. He is not a chief. He is not a warrior. He is just a hunter, a simple man who knows the land like the back of his hand. He knows which paths lead to water, which caves hold shelter from the cold, and which trees bear the sweetest fruit in the autumn. He has walked these hills since he was a child. He has never been afraid of the ground. To him, the earth is the mother, the giver of life, the solid foundation upon which everything rests. It is the one thing in his world that never changes, until one morning. Torak is crouched by a stream, cupping his hands to drink the cold, clear water. The birds are singing their morning songs. The sun is rising gently over the eastern ridge, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. It is a morning like any other, a peaceful morning, and then silence. The birds stop singing, all of them at once. The wind dies. The insects go quiet. Even the water in the stream seems to slow down. Torak looks up, confused. He has never heard silence like this. It is as if the entire world has stopped breathing, as if the universe itself is holding its breath, waiting for something terrible to happen. And then the mountain groans. It is not a roar. It is not a growl. It is a deep, guttural, primal moan, as if the earth itself is waking up from a million-year sleep and is in terrible, unimaginable pain. Torak feels it in his chest before he hears it. The ground beneath his feet begins to tremble, like the trembling of a dying animal. At first it is gentle, a subtle vibration that makes the pebbles around him dance. But within seconds it becomes violent. His body is thrown to the ground. He tries to stand, but his legs give way beneath him. The trees around him begin to sway violently, their ancient roots ripping out of the soil like torn sinews. The stream he was drinking from suddenly reverses direction, flowing uphill in a muddy, churning torrent. He watches in pure, unfiltered horror as a crack, black, endless, and hungry, splits the earth open just 10 feet away from him. He can see into the darkness below, a darkness that seems to have no bottom. He screams, but no sound comes out. His throat is frozen with terror. He watches the mountain on the opposite side of the valley crumble. A massive slab of rock and snow detaches from its peak, sliding down with a roar so loud it deafens him. Hundreds of trees are swallowed in its path. The valley floor shakes with the impact. Dust and debris fill the sky, turning the bright morning into a dark, choking twilight. Torak lies flat on the ground, clutching the dirt, praying to gods he doesn't even have names for yet. He feels completely powerless. There is nothing he can do. No spear to throw, no animal to hunt, no enemy to fight. This is a force beyond anything he has ever encountered. And then, just as suddenly as it started, it stops. The trembling ceases. The mountain stops groaning. The birds remain silent. Torak lies on the ground, shaking uncontrollably, covered in a thick layer of dust and dirt, his ears ringing with a high-pitched whine. He slowly lifts his head. The world he knew is gone. The familiar paths are gone. The stream is now a muddy, angry river, cutting a new channel across the valley floor. The mountain has a massive wound on its side, a scar of raw, exposed rock bleeding down into the valley. Everything is different. Everything is wrong. He looks at his hands. They are shaking violently. He touches his chest to make sure his heart is still beating. He stands up, stumbling like a newborn fawn, and looks around at the devastation. And then a thought, cold, terrifying, and utterly new, crosses his mind for the first time in human history. A thought that no human being had ever had before. The world is not solid. The world is not safe. The world is alive, and it hates me. That single thought changes everything. Before this moment, humans believed the earth was eternal, permanent, unchanging, but Torak has just witnessed the impossible. The ground moved. The mountain fell. The world betrayed him. He runs back to his tribe. He finds them huddled together, wailing, crying, holding on to each other in fear. Some are injured, some are missing. The children are screaming. The elders are weeping. He tells them what he saw. He tries to explain the groaning mountain, the splitting earth, the river that ran backward. He uses gestures, grunts, and broken words. But the tribe elders are confused. There is no word for what just happened. There is no concept. They have words for wind, for rain, for thunder that comes from the sky. But not for this. This is not the sky. This is not water. This is the earth itself. The mother, the provider, the one thing they trusted more than anything, turning against them. The tribe begins to panic. They believe they have done something wrong. They believe they have angered the spirits. They fall to their knees and beg for forgiveness. They offer sacrifices. They chant. They do everything they can to appease the angry ground. But Torak does not join them. He is too terrified to pray. He is too terrified to sleep. He stares at the ground for 3 days. He pokes it with a stick. He walks carefully, as if expecting the earth to swallow him with every step. He is terrified that it will open up again and take him into that black, endless darkness. He is terrified that the mountain, which he always thought was eternal, might fall on them while they sleep. On the 3rd night, Torak makes a decision. He packs a small bag, takes a burning torch and walks toward the wounded mountain. He climbs the fresh rubble, reaches the new crack in the mountainside and steps inside. He wants to see what lives inside the earth. He wants to see the monster that made the ground move. He wants to understand. Inside the cave he sees something that changes him forever. The walls of the cave are not smooth. They are layered, like a giant stack of flat stones pressed together over time. He sees strange shapes embedded in the rock. Shells, bones, shapes of fish, hundreds of feet above sea level. He sees deep scars in the stone, as if something massive had scraped against it. He sees cracks that are older than his grandfather's grandfather. He doesn't understand geology. He doesn't understand plate tectonics. He doesn't know what a fossil is. But he understands one thing. This has happened before. The earth has cracked open before. The mountain has shattered before. The ground has swallowed trees before. It was not a punishment. It was not the gods being angry. It was something else. Something worse. It was indifferent. The earth does not hate him. It does not love him. It does not care if he lives or dies. It simply moves. It simply breaks. And there is nothing, no chant, no prayer, no sacrifice that can stop it. That is the most terrifying realization of all. If the earth was angry, he could appease it. If it was a god, he could worship it. But if it is simply indifferent, then he is completely alone. Torak returns to his tribe. He does not tell them about the monster he didn't find. He tells them something far more terrifying. He says, the ground is alive. It breathes, it moves. It has moved before. It will move again. We cannot stop it. We can only try to understand it. His tribe does not understand. They cannot comprehend a world without a divine reason. They cling to their old beliefs. They invent a god, a giant serpent or a massive bull living deep underground, shaking the earth when it rolls over in its sleep. They invent rituals to calm the beast. They offer sacrifices to keep the ground still. They create myths to fill the void of understanding. Torak's discovery, the layered rocks, the ancient shells, the scars of past quakes, is forgotten. It takes 10,000 more years for another human to look at those same layered rocks and say, this was a beach, millions of years ago. It takes millennia for science to catch up to what Torak's eyes saw, but his mind could not process. But Torak's fear, his primal absolute terror of the ground, does not disappear. It is passed down through generations. His children inherit it. Their children inherit it. Entire civilizations inherit it. They build their villages on flat plains far away from mountains. They whisper warnings to their children, do not anger the earth. Walk softly, do not dig too deep. And here is the real lesson buried underneath this entire story. We are not as modern as we think we are. We walk on the earth with a false sense of security. We build skyscrapers. We dig subways. We drill into the core. But deep down, underneath all our technology, underneath all our science, we are still that frightened hunter, staring at a crack in the ground, asking, why is the world trying to kill me? The difference is Torak had no answer. He spent his life terrified of the silence before the tremor. He lived in fear of the next time the mountain would moan. He died without ever understanding what he had witnessed. You have an answer. You know about tectonic plates. You know about fault lines. You know why the earth moves. But does knowing it make you any less afraid? Think about that the next time the ground shakes. The next time a truck rumbles past and you feel the floor vibrate. The next time you feel a slight tremor and your heart skips a beat. There is a small, quiet hesitation, isn't there? A flicker of ancient panic. A voice that whispers, "Run." That hesitation never left you. It is built in. It is inherited. It is the same terror Torak felt 10,000 years ago, staring at a bleeding mountain, realizing for the first time that the world is not his home. It is just a rock floating in space, and sometimes that rock groans, and when it does, you remember. You remember that you are not in control. You remember that the ground is a lie, and for one brief terrifying moment, you are Torak.